All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to National Sweater Day. I'm glad everybody's wearing a sweater. Adam, did you not get the message? Never mind. At any rate, Allison, could you do a roll call, please?
Your worship, I can confirm I, Clerk Allison Adams, am in attendance at the township office. For those participating by video conference, please answer present when your name is called. Mayor Manel,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
Present.
Councillor Widner,
Present.
Councillor Moore,
Present.
Councillor Cerna, Councillor Lewis,
Yes, present.
Councillor Galinsky,
Present.
Chief Administrative Officer Adam Betteridge,
Present.
Director of Public Works Matt Sweetland,
Present.
Director of Finance Treasurer Adam Boylan,
Present.
Director of Fire and Emergency Services Jeff Spoor,
Present.
IT Manager Cecil Coxon.
Present.
Thanks.
Thank you, Allison. Next is this disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, we'll go to the minutes from January 6th. Was there any errors or omissions? Mover and seconder on the minutes, please. Moved by Lewis, seconder.
Second.
Widner, all in favor?
Councillor Widner,
Yes.
Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Lewis,
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar, Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
Yes.
Mayor Mennel,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Thank you. We'll move on to emergency services. Jeff, you got the floor.
One second here, I'm just moving my stuff around here. So I just got the three basic reports. The one was just for December that we didn't get through last meeting. Sorry for that. And our year-end review. And then the last one would be for the appointment of officers for the North Station and the South Station for District Deputy Chief and District Chief. As you can know, our roads manager, Ryan will be taking over my position I had before the North as that position. We also at this time, if you'll see in my report that we eliminated one of the deputy chief positions. Before, when we first merged, we kept two deputy chiefs there as well. With that going, we just removed one more deputy chief. It's going so well there, it's working fine. And that's going to save us $8,600 in wages for the year. So that part of it helped out that. And then in the South Station here, Jason Brown was successful, the candidate through the interview here, and looking forward to making these two gentlemen part of our senior team and working well with them. The year-end report, we are down a bunch of calls for the year. Now the points and stuff still went up. There was a few calls that were really extended for time. So there's some extra points in there for that. And the minutes or the points are also for the regular training sessions as well. So the regular Tuesday night training sessions, they're included in that as well. And also the fire prevention, pub ed stuff that they go out and do with in the public, which we didn't do a whole lot this year, but we did get a few events out in Port Bruce and stuff. That's also included in those points as well. If there's any other questions from council for those three reports, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. All right, we'll do one at a time. The December report. Any questions or comments on the December report?
I have one if I could.
Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to Jeff. Jeff, I see quite often we have alarm malfunctions. What is that, like business or home, or what's going on?
Through your worship, through you, Mark, some of the false reports we've had before is the last couple of years we had a bunch of when they're doing some work in the police college, they're having some false calls there. Now those have pretty well dried up. We haven't had too many there at all this year. What we've had now is a lot of new home builds where they've had these type of kitty pre-wired smoke detectors in there, and we're finding that some of them are failing out prematurely before they're 10 years. Some of these have been recalled. There's a recall on them. But we found that most of these calls we're getting is for these houses, and the alarm system's going off and people don't know what's going on. And that's what it is, has been a defective smoke alarm in their house. So
Okay, good to know, I guess.
Yep.
That's remedied.
the last few calls I know we've had is in a few of the houses, the new houses in Lyons, that new subdivision there. And there's a couple on the new houses going out on the Hacienda Road too. One house was twice we were at once, but I think, but in the same area, the same age of houses, they're all the new thing. It's all within a few years old house. So
Okay, technology.
technology is not helping us. No,
Thank you.
making them safe, but not helping.
Right.
Any other questions for Jeff on December report? Seeing none, mover and seconder, report number F-2201 entitled Emergency Services Activity Report, December be received.
Move it.
Moved by Moore, seconder. Jagger, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
Yes.
Mayor Mennel,
Yes.
that's carried.
All right, we'll move on to the year-end report from Jeff. Any questions or comments on that one?
The Mayor, I just had one question,
Go ahead.
if I may, through you. I was trying to crunch some numbers in terms of like comparing year to year, if we average, number of hours per incident and number of hours on scene and all of that. And there seemed to, when I got to the average cost per incident, there seemed to be a big jump from the last 2 years, almost double. Did you notice that? Or I don't know if my numbers are correct, or is there an explanation for that?
I can give you a bit of an explanation for that. I don't know if the numbers are 100% correct, the Deputy Mayor, but I'll double check for you and come back to you on that. 100% look at it for you. But the points, like I said, for if you get, there's less calls and stuff, the points values are still going up that extra bit every year right now. So I think that's the end year this year. Now it just goes up the cost of living or whatever the regular percentage of increases are. The also included in those points though is the fire prevention points and stuff like that as well, the training points. So with the merger of Station 3 and 4, there was a bunch of firefighters in the north end that were disengaged a bit there before too. So we got them back involved in their training. So that would probably, and a lot of the attendance stuff for the training stuff's probably up as well. So the training stuff is that's probably the main cause of it, I can see. So I'll look into it further though to see if we get a bit better of a number there for you.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
Any other questions to Jeff? All right, I need a mover and seconder, report number F-2202 entitled Malahide Fire and Emergency Services 2021 year-end report be received.
I'll move it.
Moved by Galinsky, seconder.
Second it.
Lewis, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
Yes.
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. And last for Jeff, the appointment of chiefs and deputy chiefs. Questions or comments? Seeing none. Mover and seconder, report number F-2203 entitled Appointment of District Chiefs and District Deputy Chiefs 2022 be received. Ryan DeSetter be appointed as District Chief for the North Station response area, and Jason Brown be appointed as the District Deputy Chief for South Station, each for a term of 4 years, expiring on December 31st, 2025.
Move it.
Moore and Lewis, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
Yes.
Mayor Mennel,
Yes.
that's carried.
Thank you, Matt. You're dealing with the next one on Capital Works.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. My first report this evening is in relation to a number of capital projects that staff suggests are priority needs in 2022. As council is aware, the proposed 2022 budget has not been adopted yet. However, the projects noted in this report are either required to be undertaken or would benefit financially to receive council direction to proceed with ahead of adopting the 2022 budget, which may happen as late as April. So while there are other capital works proposed in the 2022 budget, which will be forthcoming to the budget committee, the priority projects noted in this report being the Pressy Line reconstruction, Port Bruce Pier parking lot, large bridge and culvert inspections, the Carter Road Bridge structural rehab, and phase 3 road safety audit. So as you can see from this list, the level of work required to undertake these projects requires a longer time frame to plan, which would be restricted by a late approval, resulting in funneling a very heavy workload into a short time frame to undertake procurement while suppliers and subcontractors fill up their schedules before the warm construction season comes. So anticipating that council would like to see the whole picture for 2022 before making pre-budget approval decisions, a table has been included in this staff report indicating the estimated dollar values of these specific projects that were included in the multi-year budget and those that are new projects. The resulting difference being $510,000 less than the original multi-year budget had shown for these works specifically. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay, thanks, Matt. And I agree with you. I think it's prudent to get this out early. Obviously, the early requests for tenders tend to be more favorable than the late ones. So I agree with you that on your approach. So questions for Matt on the capital projects? Dominique?
Mr. Mayor, I was just wondering, do you have details or an idea of the design for the drainage solution for the pier parking lot? I know it was a bit of a head scratcher for a while of what was the best way to solve it?
Through you, your worship. Yes, we did get an engineer design last year in 2021. That was part of the 2021 budget. That was received in 2021 for a paved solution where the grade, a part of the actual road grade has to come up, be raised a little bit to afford drainage back to a dry well catch basin in the park area, and then push all of the water back over the pier back into the channel. So it's there was some funny grading that had to be worked out there, but ultimately a solution could be finalized with a hard surface paving to make sure that any wave action that crests the pier can then recede back into the channel. So it was a good undertaking, but we did get a good engineered solution out of it.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Matt, in the same regard, is there a backflow in case the water level is very high in the channel that it doesn't backfeed up through the catch basin?
So the catch basin noted is not for the wave cresting action, but rather just for the road drainage. So anything that crests the pier would then recede back over the pier. It's just the drainage in the opposite direction. So there is no outlet at that catch basin because there's no outlet that's afforded through the pier break wall, but rather it's called a dry well catch basin with clear stone in the bottom of it that slowly allows water to infiltrate away. So
Okay.
there's nothing that can back up there.
Okay, that's good. Thanks, Matt. Any other questions for Matt?
I have a couple if I could.
Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to Matt. You say the road's going to be raised too, Matt?
Yes, just a very minor amount, over about 40 meters adjacent to the parking area.
Okay, it must be 4 or 5 or 6 inches, would it be?
It is around there. Off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure what the exact number is, but it's still a very smooth transition that afforded over that length that has to be raised up.
Will there be any problems with paving it and ice breaking equipment destroying the pavement, you think? Or?
No, we considered that as well to provide an adequate area that can be moved on with the ice breaking equipment to get back onto the pier and not chew up the asphalt. So that was considered in the design as well.
Thank you.
Mayor Manel, I have a question.
Go ahead, Jess.
The catch basin, it doesn't have an outlet. So all it has is just some gravel in the bottom of it. What kind of capacity would that have? Because water doesn't always get away very quickly if it doesn't have an outlet to go out through. Any idea?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's a great point, and that is an issue that happens with dry well catch basins. That's included as, it's called a low impact drainage technique where an outlet isn't available. And being the nature of the site, water does have the ability to infiltrate, but you're correct, with a large rain event, it would take a larger amount of time. The capacity would be restricted by the size of the catch basin, which would be about 2 feet by 2 feet by whatever depth the dry well is set to. So it is limited by the surface area that water can contact, being 2 feet by 2 feet. So it's a limited surface area, and it will take a while for the water to drain away, but it is an effective solution in the long term.
Is the catch basin the way to go, or would it a graveled area like we do in the fields often to get rid of surface water down to a lower level? Would that not have more capacity than a 2x2 catch basin?
Through your worship,
Or does that depend on the gravel there is in the bottom of the catch basin?
yes, it depends on the area available for drainage, and we're restricted by the park being there, having to excavate such a large area and actually move water to that location. So of course, these things can always be reviewed as they go on and how it actually performs in the field. But this would be the preferred solution in a more transient area that is used, that we don't want to have large depressions to collect in, or eventually it could end up with a number of dry well catch basins, but there needs to be a solid collection point available.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for Adam or for Matt? Seeing none, report number PW 22-12 entitled Priority Capital Projects Be Received and Recommendations from Matt Sweetland. So mover and seconder. Moved by Jagger, seconder Lewis, all in
Second
favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
yes,
Counselor Lewis,
yes,
Counselor Glinski,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
Yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. And Matt, on request to reserve allocations?
Yes, in this report, there are 4 projects noted, which were included in the 2021 operating budget. These projects encountered specific challenges in obtaining utility locates and subcontractor availability that resulted in incompletion in 2021. So it's staff's request that council authorize the township finance to carry forward those noted budgets for these projects from the 2021 operating budget in order for the works to be completed in the 2022 operating year. And again, I can answer any questions council may have.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Questions for Matt on this one? Makes perfect sense. Seeing none, mover and seconder, report number PW 2213 entitled Request to Reserve 2021 Allocations for the Outstanding Projects Be Received. Director of Finance and Treasurer be authorized to reserve $195,339 for the unspent 2021 Public Works operating budget allocation for the completion of outstanding projects in 2022.
move it,
Moved by Moore, seconder. Seconder,
I'll second.
Widner, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
yes,
Counselor Lewis,
yes,
Counselor Glinski,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes.
and that's carried. And I just wanted to interrupt before Adam goes into the next report. There was an error in the date of the approval of the past minutes. It said January 6th. It should have said January 20th. So if you want to do that resolution again,
We'll just have as amended.
okay, as amended. So Lewis and Widner, okay, I
Okay.
will update that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Adam, you're the next on the Lowen application.
Yes, thank you, your worship. So in review of the necessary applications for this severance, there's a couple severances involved, and if council recalls, it's the lands to the southerly extent along at the east extent of Woolleyville line, and to the north on Glen Collin. There's a couple severances, but we noticed that one of the conditions was not imposed by the Land Division Committee, and what had happened was the communication of council's endorsed conditions, one was simply missing from that list. So what I've done in preparation of this report is advised which condition that states. It's a omitted requirement for a zoning bylaw amendment. So to issue formal correspondence to the Land Division Committee to amend their conditions or amend the provisional approval to reinsert this condition. And what I also mentioned in my report, and I believe the Land Division Committee will consider this exact report along with the formal correspondence. But what the Land Division can do upon its notice of amending the conditions is restart the 1-year time frame to allow the applicants to work on this. So unless there's any questions from council, there's nothing further to add to my report.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Questions for Adam on the amendment?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jess.
That blue line in the picture on page 48, is that what used to be road allowance to continue a continuation of Woolleyville line to Glen Collin line? And is that why it's being now?
No, through you, your worship.
Go ahead, Adam.
Thank you, through your worship. I don't believe it would have ever been a road allowance, but what it could have been a created field access through a much previous severance. I don't know for certain, but that's not that component isn't the purpose of this report. What it does address, Councillor Galinsky, if we're looking at that map, when we're looking at the inset map of that auto repair establishment on Woolleyville line, that requires a zoning amendment for that property there. So that's what this missing condition will address.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Adam?
Let's have one, please.
Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, through you to Adam. Adam, am I right in assuming that there's a business on Glen Collin line and there's also one on Woolleyville line? Two separate businesses?
Through you, your worship, I believe you're correct. Through communications, I believe they're operated as one business, but at two locations. The intent of the zoning bylaw amendment will be to either. So there's a number of options. It can be cleaned up and they or cease to exist. But what the zoning allows is a much cleaner site than what we have right here. There's a number of cars sitting outside. Such operations should have minimal outside storage and should be subject to site plan control as well. So there's some options that are at play for this, but I believe, yes, you're correct, Mark. There's an operation on Glen Collin and here on Woolleyville line.
Okay, why are they zoned differently? One's A34, one's A1.
Certainly. So I would suspect that at some point in time, there was a desire for a building permit, which required a zoning amendment on Woolleyville line. Also keep in mind too, though, Councillor Winner, the one on Woolleyville line and the operation on Glen are on two separate properties. I don't know the full history on when each operation started or was established, but what we might reasonably assume is that the operation on Glen Collin has commenced without getting the necessary zoning approvals. So that condition is already in place, and they've commenced applications to address that in accordance with the zoning bylaw.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Adam?
Mayor Manel, I have another question.
Go ahead, Jeff.
that parcel of land that's called A1, located, that would be east of Woolleyville line, that was a separate farm. Is not the business actually right in that area where the purple line is at the bottom on Woolleyville line?
Through you, your worship, Councillor Glinski. So there's two separate, well, I believe one's a truck repair business and the other is an auto repair business. So there's two separate sites. One's at the north of the orange square on Glen Collin, if we're looking at that map, and the other one is to the south at Woolleyville line. Does that help answer?
Well, I don't understand that A1 business to the west of Glen Collin line. Excuse me, east of the Glen Collin line, because that used to be a separate farm. Why are we concerned about that? Because that
Okay,
isn't where the business would be operating, I don't think, is it? Correct me if I'm
Okay,
wrong.
so if we're looking at the map, which is on page 48 of the agenda, are you speaking about the business, which would be just south of the word the Glen in Glen Collin line? I can share my screen if that helps.
No, that's understandable. I'm talking about the one that's if you follow Woolleyville Road north, and there's the parcel of land that's outlined in black and A1 on it. Is that the parcel of land that we're talking about, or are we talking about the parcel of land off of Glen Collin line as being A1?
Through you, your worship, I'm going to share my screen. I think that's going to help. So just bear with me here. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay, so there's one operation occurring here,
Right.
and there's one operation occurring here. Those are the only two subjects to these applications that we're concerned with. Anything to the east or west is not a concern of these applications.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions for Adam? All right, mover and seconder report number DS 2206 entitled Amended Conditions for the Application for Consent to sever number E52-21 of John Lowen, David Lowen be received, and this report and the conditions be added as a noted be forwarded to the Land Division Committee for its review and consideration. Mover and seconder.
I'll move it.
Glinski, seconder. Lewis, all in favor.
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna. Oops, sorry about that. Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Glinski,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
Yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. And Adam, you're doing the complaint protocol?
Yes, I am. So as council may recall, every year the CAO brings a report in accordance with the complaint protocol. In 2021, there were no formal complaints submitted to the township. One other piece, a technical amendment that I believe should be made to the protocol is simply given the separation of the chief administrative officer role and the clerk role, that we adjust that protocol to simply refer to the CAO.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Question for Adams on the complaint protocol? See none. Report number CAO-2201 entitled Complaint Protocol Annual Report be received. And the staff be directed to amend the township's complaint protocol by replacing all reference to Chief administrative officer / clerk with chief administrative officer. Mover and seconder. Jagger, seconder.
Second it.
Lewis, all in favor.
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. Next, we have correspondence. Anyone wish to make credit to any of the correspondence?
Yes, I got,
Mark?
I have number 2, 4, and 5. Let me just bring it up here. They're kind of all maybe from the same place. The mayors of Caledon and Township of Mono. Correspondence to Attorney General addressing for POA court backlog, including the critical challenges occurring locally and possible solutions. And City of Brantford, number 4, addressing the revolving door of justice, accountability for sureties and swift justice. And number 5, the City of Brantford, closing the revolving door of justice. And they want the government to immediately strengthen the bail system to alleviate increased criminal activities, leaving residents fearful for their lives. I think the courts are in a real mess right now. Everything's getting delayed and things aren't getting done. We're seeing that locally. There's a whole lot of court cases. They're just getting put off and put off and put off. And I think this time there's some changes. And there's talks about remote judges and everything looking at these cases. So anything they could do, I think would be a benefit. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? So there's a suggestion we support number 2, 4, and 5 and receive and file the balance. So mover and seconder for that.
Move it.
Winder, seconder.
Second.
Moore, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes.
that's carried.
Any other business? Seeing none, we'll move into bylaws. Mover and seconder bylaw number 2206 being a bylaw to set the water rates for 2022, be given a first, second, third reading, properly signed and sealed. We discussed this at a previous meeting, so we're ready to adopt it.
move it,
Jagger, seconder by Widner, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes.
that's carried.
And the same thing with the sewer rates. We discussed it as a previous meeting, so mover and seconder bylaw number 2207 being a bylaw to set the sewer rates for 2022. Begin a first, second, third reading, properly signed and sealed.
I'll move it.
Moved by Lewis, seconder.
I'll second it,
Galinsky, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. And another bylaw, that bylaw number 21-87 be a bylaw to provide for the drainage works on McGinnis Drain reassessment, be read a third time, finally passed and properly signed and sealed.
Move it.
Lewis, seconder.
Second.
Moore, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. Anything else before we go into closed? Seeing none, mover and seconder, the council moving to closed session at 8:04 pursuant to section 239-2 of the Municipal Act as amended regarding the litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunal affecting the municipality or local boards relating to the property on Avon Drive.
Move it.
Moved by Widner, seconder,
Second,
Jagger, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
yes,
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jagger,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. During closed session, council provided directions to municipal staff regarding the litigation or potential litigation, including matters before the administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local boards relating to property on Avon Drive, and there's nothing further to report. So I need a mover and second of the bylaw number 22-8, being a confirmatory bylaw, be given a first, second, third reading and properly signed and sealed.
Move it.
Lewis. Seconder,
Second.
Brewer, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
yes,
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
no,
Deputy Mayor Jagger,
yes,
Mayor Mennel,
Yes,
that's carried.
thank you. And finally, mover and second of the council adjourns meeting at 8:23 to meet again on February 17th at 7:30. Galinsky and Widner, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
yes,
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes.
Deputy Mayor Jagger,
yes.
Mayor Mennel,
Yes.
that's carried.
Okay, thank you all for attending, folks. Stay safe, stay warm.